I'm Neil Rosen. Welcome to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critic Roundtable show, where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Jack, tell us about West Side Story.
All right, Neil. Well, this is directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's been readapted by Tony Kushner. And this retelling of the 1961 original stars Ansel Elgort, Rachel Zegler, Ariana DeBose, David Alvarez, Mike Feist, and the return of Rita Moreno in a brand new role. So many people came into this film asking why we needed a remake of one of the greatest musicals of all time. Well, for Spielberg, it was about amending the whitewashing of the Puerto Rican characters from the original and bringing authenticity to the Puerto Rican and New Yorker experience. He cast 20 real Puerto Ricans, allowed the characters to speak Spanish without subtitles, and gave screen time to La Borinqueña, which is a Puerto Rican anthem. Spielberg preserves all the nostalgic elements of the 60s original while making it a little bit more grittier and more realistic. Ariana DeBose, who plays Anita, is a revelation, and she picks up the mantle where Rita Moreno left off. She's a triple threat, Neil, who will most likely pick up a Best Supporting Actress by the Academy. I feel that this is a movie that still has something to say about racism and violence in America.
Rafer.
Yeah, I was not prepared to really like this very much. I didn't really see a need for them to remake the movie. I've always liked the original. It's got that kind of cool, corny feel that makes it timeless. I didn't really think we needed a new West Side Story, but I was really stunned at what a great big screen experience this was. Spielberg directs this movie like he's 21. It's like he's directing it like it's his first movie. He's got something to prove. He's like the young, hungry kid. Every single scene in this film was just like this eye-popping, great dance number where he's using shadows in this really interesting way. It's so dramatic, so vibrant. And like Jack said, it's the immigrants, the nativists versus the American immigrants. Again, it's the same old argument. It feels fresh, and it doesn't feel quaint this time. It's a much tougher retelling of the old movie, and I was floored by it.
Bill?
Well, this is in my top 10. I'm glad we're giving it a push here because it didn't make as much money as everybody thought it was going to. But I think this is an incredible film. And it also talks about gentrification. I don't think if you ever come to New York, you're not from around here, or you are and you drive by Lincoln Center or walk by Lincoln Center, you'll never do it the same way again. This is an incredible, well-told story that everyone said, why are they doing it again? And now we see why.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I cringed when I heard they were remaking this unbelievable movie, and they actually improved upon the original. I mean, first of all, Spielberg recreated 1950s New York, even down to like the street signs are the right color. I mean, everything is just like spot on. But beyond that, I mean, I agree with you, Jack. I mean, instead of having white people play the sharks, I mean, they have authentic Puerto Rican actors in there, and I think that's great. The choreography is dazzling. The costumes are beautiful. And they add more depth to the story. I mean, in the original, the Jets got way more screen time than the Sharks, and here it's equal time, and there's great backstories on them. Listen, before he passed, the late Stephen Sondheim said he saw it and said it was great, and I'm sure if Jerome Robbins and Leonard Bernstein were alive, they probably would say the same thing. I think this thing is bound for the Oscars, and I think it's well-deserved. I think it's terrific. That was a clip from Encanto. It's Jack Rico's personal choice as we go around the panel with our critics' picks of the month. Jack.
Well, as a Colombian myself, Encanto makes it into my top 10 films of 2021. It has music from Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it centers around a Colombian family gifted with magical powers except for Mirabel, who goes on a quest to save her family when their home's magic begins to fade. Look, I think this is an achievement in Latino representations, particularly in Afro-Latino representation. And it's currently the #1 album on Billboard, which just might give Lin-Manuel Miranda the Oscar he needs to achieve EGOT status. He's one Oscar away. Will this movie give it to him?
Jack, I want you to tell us about the worst person in the world, which is, by the way, not Bill McCuddy, even though he didn't like Kodak, but it's the name of a new movie, and tell us about it.
Well, this is one of my favorite films of the year, Neil. It's directed and written by Joachim Trier and starring Renata Reinsve, Anders Danielsen, Lee, and Herbert Nordrum. And the story centers around a young Scandinavian woman who confronts a series of existential crises as she closes in on 30. This is one of the best coming-of-age romantic dramas of the year, and Reinsve delivers a star performance. The film tries to answer questions about who should we be by 30? What happens when we love someone but then fall out of love with them? Should we settle for things in life? It's an overwhelming amount of choices life gives us. So how does one know what the right choice is? Now, the film doesn't necessarily try and answer all of these questions, but it does triumph in the creative ways of exploring the difficulties of attaining a clear identity of who one should be.
Rafer?
I have to agree. I really loved this. I regret to say I had to watch this on my laptop. And when I saw that it was broken into 12 or 13 little chapters, which the film tells you at the beginning, I thought, oh, great. I'll watch a little here and there, take a break, watch a few more. And I was just totally riveted. I was sucked in. I watched the entire thing all the way through. I couldn't believe how good it was. I will say Renate Reinsve, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, such a great choice for this role. I wasn't familiar with her, but she's perfect. She's got this face that's kind of beautiful, but also kind of childlike at the same time. She's sexy, but she's not a bombshell. And there are these moments when I was watching it thinking like, oh yeah, if that girl broke up with you, you'd never survive it. You might not live. She's just fantastic. She's just so captivating on the part. I love this movie. I wish I'd seen it before I made my official top 10. It probably would have been number 2 or number 3. It's amazing.
Bill?
Well, my only question is she the worst person in the world? Is she worse than Neil? The thing is, I like and admire this film, and I think she's really good in it. But one of the things that everyone likes that I'm sort of on the fence about is the road it takes between comedy and drama, back and forth and back and forth. She doesn't do anything that bad. She's seeing 2 guys at the same time. That makes her the worst person in the world. This is an actress to look out for, but it's not one of the 10 best movies of the year, in my opinion.
Well, again, Bill, you're not on the same page with the 3 of us. I think this is a terrific film. I think Renate Reinsve is phenomenal. And she thinks she's the worst person in the world because she's having the affair. She's not, but she's only 29 years old. And she's not supposed to have everything figured out in life. And I think that's one of the points of this movie. I mean, she crashes a wedding, which is hysterical. She's walking by a wedding and there's another guy in there who's also involved with somebody else. And they go out of their way. Well, let's see, if I touch your hair, we're not really cheating, are we? If I blow smoke from my cigarette into your mouth, we didn't really cheat. I mean, it's just such a human film. And I just think the performances are so natural. She's great. I couldn't agree with you more, Rafer, she's not a bombshell, but there's something about her. And the whole movie is just, the director just really captures this whole thing that's, if you describe it, it doesn't sound like, wow, what an incredible story. It's a human story. It's a character study, and it's terrific. It's really well done. Well, that's about all the time we have. I want to thank Bill McCuddy, Rafer Guzman, and Jack Rico. I'm Neil Rosen. Join us next time, fingers crossed, back in the studio on Talking Pictures.